Hello and welcome to my video where I'm going to show you how to do 3 easy Halloween craft projects using hot glue. The first thing I'm going to make will be some faux antique candles, the second will be a dripping blood choker, and the third will be a cute spider ornament. Normally when Halloween comes around it's a bit of a rush to get some spooky ornaments made, and I just thought hot glue would be a great way to speed up the process. All 3 of these makes are quick and easy to do, and are ideal for last-minute Halloween prep. In order to follow along with this tutorial, you will need these items. For the thin card, I used cereal box card. For the hot glue, I used black, clear and red glue sticks. And for the cardboard tubes, I used a few different sizes, including toilet roll tubes. You'll need one tube to be able to fit inside the other, and the larger one needs to fit a battery-powered tea light inside. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to make the faux candles. The first step is to cut the outer tube, which is the wider tube, to size. I carefully used the utility knife to cut the thicker tube to the length I wanted, and I used scissors to shape the toilet roll tubes. The size you make these is completely down to personal preference, as these will become the candles. Note that it's more realistic to have a wavy top rather than one that's straight across. Next, cut a circle of white felt to fit inside each of the outer tubes. Then cut a cross in the middle of each circle and make that into a hole big enough to fit over the flame of the battery-powered tea light. You now need to take a narrower tube and cut a section to go inside each of your candles. This will act as a platform to hold up the tea light. Make sure you cut the inner tube short enough to hold the tea light just below the top of the outer tube. I'll need to get to the on-off switch on the tea light, so I can't just glue it inside. However, you could choose to use remote control tea lights instead if you prefer. Next, cut circles out of thin card that can fit inside each of the tubes. Glue these to the top of the corresponding platforms and leave them to dry. And then we need to add the hot glue. So heat up your glue gun and then apply drips of clear or white glue all around the top edges of the tubes. You want to try and do at least 3 layers of drips to get a more old or antique look. I did 1 layer, left it to cool, and then repeated this over and over. To get the glue to stay nearer to the top for the last layer or 2, I left the glue gun to cool for a little while so the glue wouldn't be so runny. Once you're happy, leave the glue to cool. And then we need to paint these candles. I discovered that spray paint won't cover the tubes very well on its own, so I decided to first paint the candles with white gesso as the base layer. If you have a different white primer, feel free to use that instead. As you can see, I just used a paintbrush to apply the gesso. Once dry, I then took the candles outside, put on a breathing mask and sprayed a couple of layers of white matte spray paint. Once that paint has dried, you can then assemble the candles. So put the platforms inside the candles, then add the tea lights and then the felt circles on top. If you want to, you can add some shadows and age the candles by applying a black paint and water mix on the outside and then wiping the surfaces straight away with kitchen towel, but I personally prefer them as they are. And that's it, the candles are now complete. And here you can see the finished results. Obviously they look particularly effective when they're all lit up. And the next project is the dripping blood choker. And the first thing you're going to need to do is measure around your neck and decide what length of choker you want to make. My neck measurement is just under 14 inches, so I rounded up to 14 inches. This is a choker, so you do want quite a close fit, but you also want some breathing room. Next, stick down a double thickness of invisible thread on your non-stick mat that's long enough to go around your neck. Start and end the invisible thread in the centre so that there's a loop at each end. The masking tape should only be on the ends of the loops and the ends of the thread, and it should keep the strands of thread close together. Then heat up your glue gun and put a strip of red hot glue along each half. This glue will hold the strands of thread together. Leave this to cool. Next, remove the tape in the centre and fill in the gap with glue. Carry on adding hot glue, but this time go all the way along and add drips. To create a drip shape, I start at the base of the drip and then move upwards to connect it to the necklace. Once finished, the only thread visible should be the loops at each end. Once the hot glue has hardened, use pliers to open a jump ring and add it to one of the loops of thread. Then add a jump ring and a clasp to the other loop. And that's it, the choker is complete. And here you can see it being modelled. And now we move on to the final project, which is the cute spider ornament. This is a very quick DIY, and the first thing you need to do is cut 4 lengths of aluminium wire about 5 inches long. Then bend them and arrange them as I'm showing here. Add a thick line of black hot glue in the centre, joining all of the wires together. If you want a cute spider like I do, you can then add some googly eyes. I found it was easiest to use a bit of blue tack to pick up the eyes and push them into the hot glue, but tweezers would work as well. Leave the glue to cool, and that's it, your spider ornament is now complete. I really hope you've enjoyed these projects, and thank you very much for watching.